My name is Kudzai Manditereza from Industry 4.0 TV, and we're here at the Things Conference 2023. And right now, I'm joined by Patrick Fenner from DefProc. Patrick, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Awesome. So maybe could you start off by introducing yourself to our audience and tell us more about what you're here for?
Can do. So my name is Patrick Fenner. I'm the head of engineering at DefProc Engineering, based in Liverpool in the UK. We're a design engineering company, so that we specialise in proof of concept, prototype, and design for manufacture. So we're here today. So I was giving a talk yesterday about the use of LoRaWAN with domestic hydrogen gas technologies. So being able to support the rollout from natural gas and change over to hydrogen to be able to help with decarbonising the gas infrastructure, specifically in the UK, but generally.
Awesome. Yeah, so maybe let's kind of like really start there with your talk. You talk about LoRaWAN's role in domestic hydrogen deployment in your keynote. Can you elaborate on how LoRaWAN is being utilized to enhance the monitoring, control, or safety aspects of hydrogen infrastructure within homes or communities?
Okay. So this comes from the UK government needs to decarbonise and use. They wanted to use hydrogen in lots of different industries, but particularly to be able to see if it was possible and plausible to be able to replace natural gas supply for domestic homes, for heating, for cooking, and be able to replace that with hydrogen, and therefore kind of cut all of the carbon emissions from that. Bearing in mind that that's about a fifth of carbon emissions for the UK, all goes on cooking and heating from those. Or I suppose the other way to look at it is, from a per home point of view, my household uses gas for cooking, uses gas for heating, produces the equivalent of about 24 tons of CO2 per year. And while I can reduce that a little bit, without changing that fuel, without changing that, I'm not going to be able to get rid of that completely. So that I have that kind of responsibility. So the gas networks, the gas network operators are then sort of tasked with that process. And there's it's a huge project, huge amount of work. But it's something where the UK has changed gas supply before. There is kind of precedent for it. And I suppose one of the key things is the networks are making sure they're doing the infrastructure changes, they're making the checks to make sure that essentially hydrogen is as safe or safer than natural gas supply. Now, one of the things that hydrogen does do, there's lots of things that are similar. Consumer side changes are relatively small and everything just works the same way that it does. But from the network's point of view, hydrogen is slightly less dense than natural gas, which means the flow rate is slightly higher. And for the UK gas network, it's supplied at a very low pressure. So it's really critical that the gas network operators are able to make sure that they have the supply to the properties so that the customers are getting the gas supply they need so that their equipment works exactly the same as before. So Northern Gas Networks, NGN, came to us and said, are you able to help with a solution to be able to do live monitoring at the point of supply across, to start with just their hydrogen homes project, and then to be able to roll that out across the village trials, hydrogen village trials, where they're going to take, or they're expecting to take 2,000 homes in Redcar in the northeast of England and supply them with hydrogen gas. So that's to generate, that's for us to create a device that it will do pressure monitoring there, so that we can be updating the network operator multiple times a day, so they can see live pressures at every single endpoint, so they can make sure they're doing their job properly, they're supplying the gas it needs. But also, in the unlikely event of any issue, if the pressure drops too low, it means that all of those devices can be turned off. The gas pressure rises straight back up again, and it's really quick for them to reinstate that supply. And LoRaWAN there really fits in nicely with that deployment strategy. So because as they change the gas network over, it's groups of houses together, it's groups of supply, and utilities have got this sort of land bank of areas where they have got their equipment really nice and close to where they're going to be supplying at those endpoints, and it has power and it has comms, and they're seeing that there's that really big advantage that they can drop a gateway in at their locations, they can monitor their industrial equipment, but it also means it's got the reach that it can get to those hard to reach kind of the points of supply where the meter is, it's in a wall, it's half underground, it's tucked in the back of a coke cupboard, and that penetration that LoRaWAN has is able to reach out from there, and it means that they can realistically be doing hundreds, thousands, and tens of thousands of deployments and the scale that they need to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think this really sounds very interesting. I mean, even from a safety standpoint, just thinking about it, being able to monitor all these installations in real time
Yeah,
is really crucial.
yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so now, I mean, hydrogen technologies are still in the early stages of
Mhm.
adoption. What opportunities do you see for LoRaWAN's integration in this domain? And how do you envision it shaping the future of domestic hydrogen deployment, particularly in terms of sustainability and efficiency?
So it's one of those where, I mean, IoT's general premise is that it's going to save costs or it's going to make things more efficient, whether that's doing things that people used to do, so it means that those people can go and do something better that they're more suited to, or where it's going to make sure that we've got the monitoring in place and the feedback to make sure that those systems work as well as possible or as efficiently as possible. So I mean, for me, when I'm looking at solutions, so we design lots of different things for lots of different clients, and we're always there to be able to sort of pick the right technology for the right solution. I'm almost like a bit of a magpie. I'm almost there looking for
Yeah.
what different technologies are there available to be able to suit the problems that kind of come through the door, the needs that the clients have. And we've been doing LoRaWAN for about 7 years now, something like that, from the really early stages of the Things conference and the Things Network. So being able to have that, and I'm usually looking at LoRaWAN where there is a sensor requirement, where you've got uplink data, where you've got something that's sat there, especially if it needs to be low power, on battery power, multi-year, where it's got to sit there and monitor and then be able to get that data up to the cloud, up to the customer's endpoint where they can get the information from it and do so securely so that you know it's definitely your sensor that sent that data, and reliably so that you know that sensor is out there in the field and working, and you've got a really good idea of how long it's going to work for. I know we're seeing 1, 2, 3 year lifetimes. I'm really interested to see actually the energy harvested stuff that can potentially push that into 5 years, 7 years, and 10-year lifetimes, realistically on kind of early projects without needing a kind of huge amount of investment.
Awesome. Yeah, so maybe in closing, do you have any message for anyone watching us online or anyone who's here at this event today?
Well, I've quite enjoyed myself. I've been here. The part of the project we're in, I've effectively been modem shopping, which is quite nice. Don't know, I didn't have a particular kind of, and I've been enjoying myself quite nicely. It's a lovely kind of event to be able to come back to, and what was I doing? I've been really looking at the satellite connection stuff that seems to be really coming into its own this year. So I'm quite excited to get back and have a play with that back in the office.
Oh yes, absolutely. Patrick, it's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank
you so much.
And you too.
Bye.
Lovely.